Can you love without being noticed? We all want to be seen. We want to know that our effort matters, that someone noticed the kindness we gave, the patience we showed, the help we offered. But if we are not careful, we start measuring love by the response it gets, not by the heart it's given from. And that's not how Jesus loved. Welcome to my channel. Did I share something from the Bible today? And a very warm welcome to my beautiful soul family here. Welcome to my old as well as to my new subscribers. Not once did, Jesus stop to ask, did anyone see that? Loving like Jesus isn't always loud or noticed. I'm going to share a very short story here, from a gentleman called Reverend J. Martin. It's called The Empty Thank You. Now, this lady, Rachel, she was exhausted. She'd been, working the entire week, and, she pulled into her parking, spot outside her apartment, and her phone rang. It was a friend. She had missed her flight and needed, a lift to the airport. Rachel almost said no. She was tired, she had planned to rest, and she wasn't in the mood. But then came the nudge. Gentle, unmistakable, help her. So she started the car again, drove to her friend's house, and took her to the airport. When they arrived, her friend jumped out quickly, grabbed her bags, and said a fast thanks, before rushing, inside. Rachel, she waited a moment, then drove home. She felt flat. Even a hug would have been nice, she thought. And a week later, she saw her friends' holiday photos, online, smiling, relaxed. And Rachel, she was still waiting, for a message, a call, some kind of, follow-up. But none came. And over the next few days, what happened? Her frustration grew. Did anyone see her effort? Did anyone care? She kept replaying it in her mind, and each time it left a bitter taste. Then one morning during her prayer time, a question surfaced. Did you do it for her or for me? Rachel opened her eyes, and there it was, the truth. She hadn't helped just out of love. She had helped out of need, the need to feel seen, valued, applauded. But real love doesn't demand attention. It doesn't wait for applause. It simply gives, because that's what love does. We all need to reflect here. Love that needs recognition becomes performance, but love that flows from grace becomes worship. It gives without keeping score. It serves without demanding something in return. Now, here is the coolest part. Most of the time, the love that changes the world won't make headlines. It'll happen in quiet cars, silent prayers, and small, faithful acts. So love, without needing credit. Not because people will notice, but because God does. And in His kingdom, the quiet things often echo the loudest. I hope you enjoyed this message of love. It couldn't be more timely as we approach Valentine's Day. I always believe God works in the most mysterious and strategic ways. He not only nurtures my creativity, but also helps me to express it beautifully. You all have a lovely week ahead, and don't forget to love like Him, and your love life will bloom. Thanks for joining. You guys take care.